Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. I wanted to do a special midday update on the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia. We continue to get reports, intelligence reports, that the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue to move south and southwest of Desse, Kamisa, and other areas deep inside of the Amhara region. Again, it is reported that some major units, major forces of the Tigrayan Defense Forces are now in excess of 100 miles deep into Amhara territory, into the Amhara region, and continue to push forward. Again, we continue to see video evidence of large columns of Tigrayan Defense Forces, of the Tigrayan Army, continuing to press forward, to press south along the A2 highway, B21 highway, B22 highway, B11 highway. Again, multiple points of advance continues, and that is significant. What we're also hearing as well is, and again, this may seem or sound somewhat unbelievable, but at this point, because of the level of desertions, the abandonment of units within the federal forces, the Abiy loyalists, the Tigrayan Defense Forces, as we speak, may actually have more personnel in the field under arms than the actual Ethiopian National Defense Forces. So if we look at the possibility in terms of how many personnel the TDF has the ability to deploy into the field, it was estimated that the TDF could possibly, the Tigray region could possibly fully mobilize approximately 250,000 personnel. And at the time of the conflict, the ENDF, it was very difficult to get exact numbers, but again, the ENDF quite possibly was in the neighborhood of anywhere from 100 plus to 160 up to 300, but again 300,000. But again, very difficult to estimate some of these numbers. But again, if you look at the population of the Tigray region, roughly 6 to 7 million people. And if you roughly have 3 million males, just if you're looking at the male population inside of the Tigray region, and you were to say that 1 out of 10 has the ability to fight, and if you look at general information such as those with disabilities or medical issues, and you look at the population of about, again, 3 million males, you could theoretically get around 300,000 personnel that is fit for Army duty. But again, we estimate that the Tigrayan Defense Forces currently in the field, especially inside of the Amhara region and then other areas, are definitely in excess of 100,000 personnel, and then actually quite possibly much larger than that as well. And as for the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, the Abiy loyalists, we have seen one, tremendous casualties, wounded, KIA, but more importantly, we have seen a lot of those personnel simply abandon the ENDF. They have thrown down their weapons and just have basically vacated the field. And that's why we are seeing and reporting that quite possibly, as we speak, the Tigrayan Defense Forces could actually outnumber the Ethiopian National Defense Forces. Now, if you factor in the Amhara regional militias, Fano, and all these paramilitary groups the Amhara region is attempting to raise. Now that changes things a little bit in terms of total personnel, but again, it is quite possible as we speak right now. The TDF could, in fact, outnumber the actual federal forces, the Ethiopian National Defense Forces. Now, obviously, they do not possess the same amount of tanks and heavy artillery, and they don't possess an active duty air force per se. Again, the ENDF, roughly 5,000 personnel and a few dozen aircraft that are capable of flying and dropping bombs on target. Not a very big air force, but needless to say, it is an air force that does have the ability to drop bombs, and that can be significant at times. But again, I just wanted to talk about that just in terms of the amount of forces that are being deployed. We could be seeing in excess of 100,000 personnel by the TDF being deployed in the Amhara region and continuing to press south towards possibly its ultimate goal, which is Addis Ababa. Right now, there doesn't appear to be a lot of organized resistance that is engaging the Tigrayan Defense Forces as they press south along the A2 highway and other points of advance as well. Now, with that being said, there is quite a bit of banditry. There is obviously the Fano. There is the paramilitary forces of the Amhara region that are still active and are still providing resistance against the Tigrayan Defense Forces. But again, as of right now, we're not seeing the same type of organized resistance that was in effect prior to the fall of Dessie and Kombolcha. And please understand, just a few weeks ago, a lot of supporters of the Amhara region, of Abiy Ahmed, of the Prosperity Party, were talking about this great offensive that was going to take place starting within the area of Dessie and Kombolcha, and proceed up the A2 highway and proceed toward Gashina, seizing Gashina, and then Weldia, and then quite possibly launching a new invasion of the actual Tigray region again. And obviously, that did not happen. That really fell apart, and now we're seeing rapid advances by the TDF further south from Dessie and Kombolcha. And as a matter of fact, just to note, I was under the impression and did not believe that the TDF would secure Kombolcha and Dessie as quickly as they did, meaning they, the Tigrayan Defense Forces. Now, with that being said, the advance continues. Is it possible we could see some resistance? I've been asked in terms of Addis Ababa. Could we see significant resistance from the city itself? Could we see active resistance by elements of the security forces in the city, the Republican Guard, security forces very loyal to Abiy Ahmed? Possibly. But I believe that once the TDF is on the outskirts of Addis Ababa, and you can hear fighting outside of the city, things are going to probably fall apart even quicker. Again, we're probably looking at a couple of crucial targets inside of Addis Ababa. Obviously, one is the international airport. I would assume as the TDF starts to advance towards the city, towards the outskirts of the city, a lot of continued resistance will be centered on the fact that is Abiy Ahmed, is the key leadership of the Prosperity Party, are they still in the city and declaring themselves as the key leadership figures within the city? And if they are not, if they get on a plane and leave, obviously that is going to signal defeat to any units that remain inside of Addis Ababa, and you could quite quickly see those forces dissolve. But again, that is all pending on if Abiy Ahmed and other crucial leadership figures inside of Addis Ababa depart. Is it possible they could flee to another part of Ethiopia? Could they possibly flee to Bahir Dar and continue the fight from the Amhara region? Quite possibly. I've said many times that eventually this will turn into more of a ethnic-centered based conflict where you will see the ENDF dissolve, and you will then in taking its place will be an Amhara regional army based along ethnic lines of the Amhara region. But again, that's not yet here. Again, we're still seeing the advance towards Addis Ababa, and in fact, we could at some point we could see that advance possibly slow. That's not happening as of yet. But again, we'll continue to watch the situation and report. I was also asked about the issue of people from the Tigray region who live in Addis Ababa being targeted by governmental security agencies. Yes, that is happening. People are being arrested and detained without trial based because they are from the Tigray region. And again, is it possible that we could be seeing some limited scale infiltration by members of the TDF inside of Addis Ababa? I guess it's possible. But again, based on what we are hearing, the focus and the targeting that is going on by government forces inside of Addis Ababa is against just ordinary people who just happen to live and work in Addis Ababa or own businesses, and they're from the Tigray region, just being rounded up and taken away. And at the same time, those who do not actively support the Prosperity Party also have a target on their shoulders as well, and could be taken into custody as well. So again, as this conflict kind of spirals out of control and desperation sets in, you will see some rather draconian measures start to take place, and we're starting to see that now. As the TDF continue to get closer and closer to Addis Ababa, also known as Fin-Finay. And then again, we also have the Oromo Liberation Army, in some cases operating very close to Fin-Finay or Addis Ababa. Again, if the OLA take possession of Addis Ababa, it will probably become Fin-Finay very, very quickly. But again, that has not happened yet. We will continue to monitor the situation and report, and we will continue with the videos as we get information. Have a great day, everybody.